Let's begin. The night she left me, even the air in the house felt different. You know how you walk in sometimes and something feels off? That's how it was. I came home after a brutal double shift, 16 straight hours on my feet at the hospital. My feet were killing me, my back ached, and all I wanted was to reheat the leftover pizza I'd been dreaming about since noon, crack open a cold beer, and zone out in front of the TV. I should have known something was wrong the second I stepped through that door. The lights were off. Jasper, our dog, didn't come running like he usually did. The house was silent. Not peaceful silent. Hollow silent. Like it had already started forgetting her voice. I walked to the kitchen, dropped my keys, kicked off my shoes, and microwaved that pizza. Took one bite. It was cold. I didn't even care. I just sat on the couch, half watching some muted documentary rerun. Then my phone buzzed once. Just once. Not a call. Not a group chat or spam. One single buzz. I almost didn't check it, but something in my chest told me I needed to. I picked it up. One message. From Lauren. No emojis. No hey babe. No explanation. Just, don't wait up. I won't be home. Ever again. I left with him. I didn't blink. Didn't move. I must have read that message 20 times in a row. I remember my thumb hovering over the screen like if I pressed hard enough, I could delete the reality behind the words. But they didn't change. She'd really said it. She'd left. With him. And the worst part, I didn't even know who he was. But I had guesses. Gut feelings that rushed back all at once like a wave, crashing through the walls I'd been too stupid to notice were already crumbling. I jumped up, ran to the garage. Her car. Gone. Then I went to the bedroom. Closet. Half empty. Not ransacked. Not like someone stormed out in tears. No, this was calculated. Precise. Every hanger she used was still there, spaced evenly, like she had time to make it look neat. She planned it. God, she planned it. I check her nightstand. Her favorite book, still there, half-read. Her scent still on the pillow. The shampoo in the bathroom was different, citrus. She hated citrus. Guess he liked it. I stood there frozen, gripping the door frame so hard my knuckles went white. Then my phone buzzed again. Another message, this time from an unknown number. She's where she belongs. Don't reach out. No name. Just arrogance. Just venom. And I didn't reply. Not because I didn't have things to say, but because I didn't need to. Not yet. Because right there, in that silence, something in me shifted. I wasn't shattered. I wasn't screaming or crying or calling my best friend. I was still, dead calm. Like the air right before a storm hits. Everyone thought I'd fall apart. That I'd break down. That I'd beg her to come back. What none of them knew, not her, not him, not anyone, was that they just lit a fuse under the wrong man. That night, I didn't sleep. I didn't touch my food. I just sat in the kitchen, staring at the nothingness. And then I did the one thing she never saw coming. I opened my laptop. I started a folder. I named it, Her Collapse. And then I started writing. Not just what happened. Everything. Every late night that didn't make sense. Every excuse. Every lie she told with those eyes I used to trust. Every damn detail. Not for closure. Not for grief. But for revenge. Because she thought she'd burned my world to the ground. She had no idea I still held the blueprint. And I was going to make sure she watched it all fall, brick by brick. I didn't go to work the next day. Didn't call in. Didn't text. I just stared at that message until the sun came up. And when the house filled with light again, it felt like I was in a stranger's home. Her shoes were still by the door. Not her good heels, just the worn ones she probably didn't care to take. The mug she always used in the morning was gone. Her perfume bottle too. Her drawer in the bathroom. Empty. But then something strange happened. Something that made my hand shake again. Not from grief, from discovery. I went to the laundry closet. I wasn't searching. I was just grabbing trash bags. But my hand brushed something cold in the back of an old tin we used to keep loose change in. It rattled. Tiny. Metallic. A USB drive. For a moment, I just stared at it. You ever get that gut feeling like whatever you're about to open is going to change everything? Yeah, that. I plugged it into my laptop. It was hers. No doubt. I could tell from the folder names. Rental agreement, Miami. Application, New York Med Fellowship. Photos, private. My heart thudded so hard it hurt. I clicked photos. And there she was. On a balcony I didn't recognize. Wearing a black dress I'd never seen. Hair pinned up the way she used to when she wanted to impress. She was laughing. With him. Tall. Smug. One of those finance bro types with a glass of wine and a fake tan. Her hand on his thigh. His lips close to her ear. Frame after frame. Different outfits. Different nights. But the same man. The same fake intimacy like they'd done this dozens of times before. And then, a video. Her voice. Her laugh. Her face up close to the camera. Whispering. I can't wait until I don't have to sneak around anymore. He's so clueless, babe. She met me. I froze the video right there. Her smirking. Giggling. Talking about me like I was some blind fool in a sitcom. That's when something in me shut off. Or maybe turned on. My heart didn't hurt anymore. It didn't beat the same way. I stared at that screen, and I didn't see my wife. I saw a target. That day, I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I didn't throw a single thing. Instead, I started a new file inside the folder. Titled it, Collapse Timeline. And I went to work. Not the hospital. Work. I listed every suspicious moment I had ignored. The nights she came home smelling like cologne. The gym bag that never had sweat in it. The business trip she took last month that didn't match her calendar. The new citrus shampoo. The Uber receipts tucked behind our Visa bill. Every lie was now a nail. And I was building something, not grief, not healing, a trap. Because here's what she never realized. I built her dream, paid her tuition, co-signed the lease for her clinic, put my name on every investment, every bank account, every LLC she used for her medical side hustle. And while she was off with Mr. Protein Shake planning a new life, I was quietly making sure every legal thread was still tied to me. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to beg. That wasn't my style. What I was going to do, bleed her out, silently, precisely, legally. And I was going to start with the house. 6 months ago, she wanted to refinance. Said she wanted freedom. Didn't want to deal with brokers. I handled it. She signed the documents without reading. She trusted me. She thought both our names were still on the deed. They weren't. That house was mine. So I made a call to a real estate attorney, someone I'd worked with on a few quiet deals over the years. Can we list the house if one spouse abandoned residence and holds no legal claim? He replied, we can start tomorrow. Perfect. I called a moving company next. Gave them clear instructions. Pack only what's on the right side of the closet. Take everything from the bottom drawer of the master bath. Leave the rest. I watched as they came, loaded it all in under an hour, and left. Then I went to a condo across town. Paid 6 months in advance. Used a different last name. No forwarding address. No trace. The house still looked the same from outside. But inside, it was a stage, waiting for the final scene. I left one photo on the counter. Her graduation. My hand on her back. The day she told me she had a migraine and skipped our dinner plans. Lies. Next to it, I left a note. Enjoy your new life. I already am. I locked the door behind me for the last time and flipped the porch light on so she'd think someone was still home. Let her walk into silence. Because that silence, that was me. And I was just getting started. She came back on a Thursday. I know that because I watched it happen from across the street, behind the tinted windows of a borrowed Honda Civic I'd parked 2 houses down. Hoodie up. Sunglasses on. I looked like a bored rideshare driver waiting for a ping. It was just past 6 p.m. when her silver crossover rolled up to the curb, slow and casual, like nothing had changed. Like she hadn't vanished. Like she didn't burn everything down with a text message and a smug ghost of a man. She got out, phone in one hand, boutique shopping bag in the other. Dressed like she'd just come from a spa or some overpriced brunch. Her shoulders were back. Hair curled. That signature Lauren poise. Fake confidence wrapped in perfume. She climbed the porch steps like she owned them. Slid her key into the front door. Click. Nothing. I saw her freeze. She jiggled the key. Tried again. Her body stiffened. She twisted the knob harder this time, then stepped back like the house had betrayed her. She had no idea what I'd already done. 2 days before, I had changed the locks. Legally. Because guess what? When someone sends a text that says, I left with him, that's abandonment of property. I had the documents signed and filed before she even unpacked her little weekend bag in his condo. I watched as she paced the porch like an entitled Airbnb guest who lost her code. She pulled out her phone. Dialed once. Probably me. Old number. Disconnected. Dialed again. No luck. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. She knocked. Once, twice. No answer. And I didn't move. Just sipped my lukewarm gas station coffee and let the moment unfold. Then, like clockwork, my inbox dinged. Subject: you changed the locks. WTF is wrong with you? This is my house too. I'm calling a lawyer. You better not touch my stuff. I'll be back tomorrow and it better be fixed. You're acting insane. No greeting. No apology. No explanation. Just entitlement. She was still living in her fantasy, where she was the victim, where I was the crazy one. I didn't reply. Instead, she got my autoresponder. This email is no longer monitored. All communication must go through legal counsel. Have a good day. That was the moment she realized she'd lost control. I saw it in her eyes as she stood there, back door bolted, blinds drawn. The life she thought she was stepping back into. Gone. She got her car and drove off. But not home. Because that house wasn't hers anymore. It never really was. I followed her. Yeah, I needed to know where she went. Not for revenge. For confirmation. She pulled into a luxury apartment complex across town. Sleek glass lobby. Valet parking. That whole fake minimalist vibe that screams, look at me. I'm independent. 10 minutes later, he walked out. Him. Mr. Smoothie King. Wearing gym shorts and no shoes. The kind of guy who probably says grind set, unironically. Hair still wet from shower. Holding a green drink in one hand and Lauren's pride in the other. He kissed her like he owned her. And she laughed. Loud. Clung to his arm like a teenager. The same woman who used to call me boring for being too predictable. Now wrapped around a walking midlife crisis in board shorts. I didn't flinch. Because that wasn't my wife anymore. That was the lie I used to sleep beside. By midnight, I started phase 2. She left her old laptop behind. Guess she forgot it in her rush. It was still logged into her cloud account. Text backups. Email access. Photos. Notes. Everything. And what I found wasn't just betrayal. It was premeditated. Conversations with her best friend. Laughing at how clueless I was. Plans. Strategies. Don't worry, babe. He won't fight. I'll get the house, the clinic, and the account. Just give a month. I printed it all. Every screenshot. Every smug message. Every timestamp plan she made behind my back. And I mailed copies, real physical copies, to a P.O. box I opened under a fake name. I wasn't just collecting evidence anymore. I was building a firewall. Sunday. She came back again. But this time she brought him. I saw their car turn onto the street. Same smug energy. Same couple goals aesthetic that made me want to laugh. They walked up to the front steps like they were arriving for a showing. Like the world still bent around them. She tried the key again. Nothing. Her smile cracked. Just for a second. But I caught it. Then she rang the bell. Over and over. He kicked the door once hard. Big mistake. Because 2 days earlier, I'd installed a motion sensor cam. Wide angle. High resolution. Backed up to cloud storage. The second his foot hit the wood. Click. Recording. Date stamped. Face in full view. Attempted forced entry. Trespassing. Documented. That's the kind of thing judges love in court. They left, eventually. Tension thick between them. He was barking at her. She was waving her hands, talking fast, looking embarrassed. Their little fantasy was already unraveling. 3 hours later, she cracked. She called me from a new number. Blocked ID. Left a voicemail. Not angry. Not accusatory. Sweet. Too sweet. Hey, I don't know what's going on. I think there's been a misunderstanding. Can we talk? Please. I just want to fix this. I played that voicemail 10 times. Each one more surreal than the last. Same voice she used when she scratched my car and blamed the neighbor's kid. Same tone she used when she maxed out our emergency card and cried until I hugged her. But this time, the performance didn't land. Because now, she wasn't talking to the man she left. She was talking to the one who was already 10 steps ahead. I didn't respond to her voicemail. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because silence is sometimes louder. She thought I was waiting on the other side of that message, holding on to some fragile hope. She didn't know I'd already sold the house. Yep, gone. Paperwork finalized. Funds routed through a shell trust I'd set up under my middle name. She didn't even know the sale was happening, because she signed the refinancing papers without reading the fine print. The title had been in my name only for months. And just to twist the knife, gently, I had the locks changed again. This time, with the realtor's keys sent to my new condo, under a completely different last name. By the time her second email arrived, please talk. I don't know what's happening. It was already too late. That same night, I got a burner message. He's not who I thought he was. There it was. Crack number one in her fantasy. And that was all I needed. I forwarded the voicemail to my attorney. Then I went back to work. I filed the paperwork for a full financial audit. Every account, every credit line, every clinic expense she put under her shared name. What she didn't know, our accountant, Tim, was an old high school friend. Hated liars. Loved receipts. He flagged everything suspicious within hours. Spa weekends disguised as seminars. Plane tickets to places I'd never been. Fertility clinic payments. In his name. Meals for two charged during her supposed night shifts. She'd been building a future with him while lying to me about not being ready for kids. When my lawyer saw the list, he laughed. She's cooked, he said. He asked if I want to freeze her assets right then. I said, no. Let her think she still had options. Let her keep crawling forward toward the trap. Then came the email. Long, meandering, full of guilt-drenched paragraphs. I didn't mean for this to happen. I was confused. I wasn't happy and didn't know how to say it. I thought I needed something else. But now I see it wasn't real. He's not you. You were always good to me. Please, let's talk. I read it twice. Then deleted it. No reply. No satisfaction. Just another line item crossed off the list. She wanted forgiveness without confession. Comfort without consequence. But I wasn't her cushion anymore. I was the mirror she refused to look into. And now, I was her storm. 5 days passed. Quiet. Then a letter showed up. Actual pen and paper. Slid under the door of my new place. No return address. Just Daniel in her handwriting. The kind she used to write birthday cards with. Long loops over confident curves. I didn't open it right away. I left it on the counter. Stared at it for a full hour while cooking dinner. Then, right before bed, I cracked it open. 2 pages. Front and back. Soaked in carefully worded remorse. I never meant to fall in love with someone else. It just happened. I didn't recognize myself anymore. The apartment feels cold. He comes home late. He hides his phone. I found an Uber receipt to a club I've never even heard of. When I asked him about it, he told me not to be dramatic. Oh, how the tables turn. I miss you. Your steadiness. Your calm. The way you never made me feel small. Until I made myself unrecognizable. I thought I wanted passion. But now I'd give anything just to sit next to you again while the world was quiet. There was no love, Lauren. No lips to kiss. No hearts. Just pain, bottled and mailed. I folded the letter. Put it in the drawer under my knives. Then I called James. James was a quiet guy from my past. Private investigator. Owed me a few favors. I gave him one simple instruction. I want everything on him. Quietly. No alerts. No trace. While James did his job, I kept moving. I changed banks. Froze every account with her name on it. Dissolved the last business tie we had. Had my lawyer send a final claim of property to her email. Subject line. Notification of transfer. Final. And it was everything. The house sale. The asset division. Her removal from every financial line that ever tied her to me. Clean. Sharp. Unmistakable. By the time she read it, the money was already gone. Locked in a 30-day trust. Unreachable. Just like me. 3 days later, James called. You're going to want to see this in person. We met at a quiet diner. He slid the folder across the table like we were in a mob film. Inside, photos, surveillance, text logs, receipts. Turns out Mr. Green's smoothie wasn't new to this. He had a pattern. 3 restraining orders from past relationships. Same script every time. Love bombs them. Pushes them to leave their lives. Then isolates. Controls. Vanishes. Lauren was just the newest project. Worse. He was still seeing another woman, a much younger one, behind her back. Every Thursday night. Every third Sunday morning. Documented. She was nothing more than a rerun in his highlight reel. And she didn't even know. Yet, that night, she called again. Not from a burner. Not from a blocked line. From her old number. The one she knew I'd blocked. Which meant she had to go through hell just to get it working again. I let it ring twice. Then answered. Silence. Then, thank you for picking up. Her voice. Small. Cracked. Nothing like the Lauren who once mocked my routines. She spoke for 10 minutes. Said he'd changed. Said he locked her out of her own accounts. That he got jealous. Controlled who she called. Said she missed her friends. Her family. Even her stupid plants. Then she said something that caught me off guard. I keep thinking about our last Thanksgiving. You fell asleep on the couch watching the parade. I covered you with that ugly scarf and thought, I don't love him like I used to, but now, I'd give anything to go back to that exact moment and just stay there. I didn't say a word. Then finally, I said one sentence. You left me with a text. That was all. She didn't argue, didn't beg. She just whispered, I know, and cried. Not loud, just softly, like something inside her had cracked too deep to fix. I ended the call, because the bridge she burned wasn't even ashes anymore. It was rebar and ruin. 2 days after that call, she came to my building. No warning, no text, just showed up. The doorman buzzed my unit. Mr. Grayson, there's a woman here asking for you. Says it's urgent. I asked what she looked like. He said, soaked hair, skinny, tired. Looks like she hasn't slept in a while. Yeah, that sounded like her. I told him, keep the door locked. And I watched. From the third-floor peephole, just like the last time. Only this time I didn't hide. She stood outside in the pouring rain. No umbrella, no coat, just trembling, waiting, hoping. She didn't call my name, didn't knock. She just stood there like a shadow stuck in place. After 10 minutes, she reached into her purse and pulled something out, handed it to the doorman. Please make sure he gets this. Then she left. No drama, no theatrics, just gone. The doorman gave me the envelope. I didn't open it right away. I cooked dinner first, chicken and rice. Simple, the kind of meal she used to scoff at and call lazy. But it tasted like peace now. After I ate, I sat at the table, opened the envelope. Inside was a short letter. Not poetic, not manipulative, just broken. Daniel, you were right. About him, about me. I don't deserve forgiveness. I won't ask for it again. But I needed to say this. I loved you. I think I still do. But I was too stupid and too selfish to understand what that love meant. You gave me peace, and I mistook it for boredom. You gave me trust, and I use it like a blank check. You gave me a future, and I traded it for a mirror. I destroyed the only good thing I ever had. And I know, I don't get to rebuild it. Wherever you are, I hope you're happy. Truly, M. I folded the letter, set on the counter. Didn't cry, didn't sigh, didn't feel anything. Because when the wound finally heals, even the blade that made it just looks like metal. She was just a chapter now, a story I could close, without flinching. That night, I burned the letter, watched the flames curl each word into ash. Not out of rage, but to make room. Room for me, for the man I was before she hollowed me out. 2 weeks passed. I walked past our old street. The coffee shop she used to love, boarded up now. The park bench where we talked about kids, empty. The house, for rent. The lawn freshly cut. No ghosts left. And for the first time, I didn't feel grief. I didn't feel anything. I was done. Not healing. Healed. A few days later, a mutual friend called me. Hesitant voice. Apologetic tone. Hey, I wasn't sure if I should say anything. But Madison's in the hospital. I didn't react. It's not life-threatening. Just bad. She collapsed at work. They said she hadn't eaten in days. Some kind of breakdown. He trailed off, waiting to see if I still cared. I didn't. Not in the way he thought. No panic. No sadness. Just confirmation that the path she sprinted down ended exactly where I knew it would. She didn't just fall. She collapsed. I didn't call the hospital. I didn't send flowers. Instead, I opened the small notebook I'd been keeping since the night she left. On the first page, I had written, when she breaks, you do not go back. No matter how loud she cries. No matter how convincing the story. You do not go back. I read it 10 times. Then I turned the page and wrote something new. Sometimes love is letting go. Other times, it's locking the door and walking away, while they scream on the other side. Later that week, she showed up one final time. Lobby. Same building. Same doorman. He buzzed again. She's asking for you. Just standing there. Won't say anything else. I looked out the window. There she was. Hair down. Dark circles under her eyes. Holding something in her hand. Another letter. She didn't ask to come up. She didn't call. She just gave it to the front desk and left. I opened it that night. Short. Honest. You were my safety net. I thought you'd always be there. But I stepped off thinking you'd catch me. And now I know. You were in the bottom. You were the ground. I folded that letter. Didn't save it. Didn't burn it either. I just let it sit. Like a story that finally understood its ending. She thought I'd always be there. Waiting. Hoping. But what she didn't realize, I wasn't the fallback. I was the foundation. And once she stepped off, there was nowhere left to land. That's the story. The real one. Not the fantasy, she told herself. Not the redemption arc she thought she'd write. This is what happens when you betray someone who gave you everything. And thought of revenge not as chaos, but as calm. Not fire. Stone. And stone doesn't scream when it's cut. It carves.